Hello, you are watching our 2024 Economy in Review program, which will bring you to look back to various economic events and economic initiatives taken by the government in 2024. This year will soon end, and throughout this year, the world has faced various complex and diverse challenges and the rising geopolitical risks resulting from prolonged wars between Russia and Ukraine, as well as Palestine and Israel. The growing global uncertainties have also affected Indonesia, as reflected in the country's stagnant economic growth. Let's begin the first segment of our 2024 year-end review on economy. The Indonesian economy is growing at a slower pace this year amid rising global economic uncertainties and the weakening of household spending, which accounts for more than 50% of the country's GDP. The economy grew by 5.11% year-on-year in the first quarter of 2024, but then slowed to 5.05% in the following quarter. The government is optimistic that the economic growth will be higher in 2025 despite the rising challenges resulting from President Donald Trump's protectionist policy, which could impede Indonesia's exports. Now, the following are the highlights of our 2024 year in review in the country's economic activity. The Central Statistics Agency has reported that Indonesia's economy expanded by 5.05% in 2023, slightly below the government's target of 5.1% and 5.3% recorded in 2022. Amalia Adininggar Widyasanti, the acting head of BPS, said Indonesia managed to maintain the economic growth of 5.05% despite the global economic slowdown on the back of a solid growth of 5.04% in the third quarter. Speaking at a press conference on February 5th, Amalia said domestic consumption continued to grow due to controlled inflation and the increase of purchasing power of consumers. The major contributors to the gross domestic product were domestic consumption, accounting for 58.83%, and gross fixed capital formation, or GFCF, with a 30.57% contribution. Bank Indonesia on September 18 unexpectedly cut its benchmark interest rate for the first time in over 3 years, as the rupiah strengthened and ahead of the anticipated U.S. interest rate cuts. BI Governor Peri Warjio said this move aligns with the low inflation forecast for 2024 and 2025, which remains within the target range of 2.5%. The policy also aims to support the strengthening of the rupiah and boost national economic growth. Looking ahead, the central bank will continue to monitor the potential for further rate cuts, considering the stable and appreciating rupiah, low inflation, and the need to drive higher economic growth, Warjio said at a press conference. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, experienced another decline or deflation in September 2024, recording the worst deflation in 24 years since 1999. The deflation lasted for 5 consecutive months and occurred ahead of the end of President Joko Widodo's administration on October 20, 2024. Based on a report by the Central Statistics Agency (BPS) on Tuesday, October 1st, the deflation in September 2024 was recorded at 0.12% on a monthly basis, deeper than the deflation in August 2024, which was only 0.03%. The deflationary trend has started since May 2024 with a decline of 0.03%, then continued in June by 0.08% and July by 0.18%. However, on an annual basis, the CPI recorded an increase or inflation of 1.84%, although this figure is lower than the previous period, which reached 2.12% year-on-year. Indonesia's gross domestic product in the third quarter increased 4.95% from a year earlier. Its slowest pace in a year, data from the Statistics Bureau showed on Tuesday, November 5th, as household consumption showed softer growth. The third quarter result came slightly below annual growth of 5%, expected by analysts polled by Reuters, and compared with an increase of 5.05% in the second quarter household consumption, which makes up about half of Indonesia's GDP, grew 4.91% annually in the third quarter, lower than the previous quarter's growth of 4.93%. Investment grew 5.15% year-on-year, its fastest pace in a year, supported by investment in the new capital city and other infrastructure projects. Government spending and exports also expanded more. Indonesia enjoyed a 55th consecutive month of trade surplus in November, reaching $4.42 billion. Statistics Indonesia (BPS) reported Monday, December 16. The figure is higher than the previous month's surplus of $2.47 billion. Cumulatively, the Southeast Asian countries' trade balance achieved a surplus of $28.86 billion. The surplus was driven by higher export values compared to imports. Indonesia's exports reached $24.01 billion in November 2024, while imports were recorded at $19.59 billion, said the head of BPS Amalia Adininggar Widya Santi said during a press conference.
Terjadi di sektor
Vice President Maruf Amin officially opened the first trading day on January 2, 2023 at the Indonesian Stock Exchange with full optimism. However, the global economic uncertainties and the high interest rates in the United States have led to sharp fluctuation in share prices during the year. It is the same with rupiah, which has also been under selling pressures in most parts of the year. The Indonesian rupiah have sharply fluctuated between 15,875 to 16,510 per US dollars, above the government's target of 16,000 per US dollars. Below are the highlights of the 2024 year-end report on financial market performance. Vice President Maruf Amin officially opened the first trading day at the Indonesian Stock Exchange (IDX) in a ceremony at the IDX main building on Tuesday, January 2nd, with a message of optimism for a better year in 2024. In his opening remarks, Vice President Maruf Amin highlighted the achievements of the Indonesian stock market in promoting stock market trading in the country, as reflected by the sharp increase in number of listed companies on the bourse. As of December 28, 2023, the Jakarta Composite Index, or JCI, rose 6.20% to close at 7,304 year-to-date, while the market capitalization grew by 23.82% year-to-date, or by 11,762 trillion, 730.14 billion US dollars. The rupiah exchange rate plunged to its lowest level in 4 years since April 2020 on April 2nd, following massive capital flights from the government's bonds. The rupiah dropped 0.5% to 15,963 rupiah per US dollars due to the sharp increase in the capital outflow from the Indonesian bond market, which rose to 1.7 billion US dollars in the first quarter of this year. Since then, the Indonesian rupiah continued its downside and reached its lowest level during the year to 16,500 per US dollars on June 2nd, amid rising geopolitical tensions in the world. The rupiah gradually recovered in the following months and strengthened to 15,000 mark in early October. As many as 40 companies launched their initial public offering, or IPOs, and listed their shares on the Indonesian Stock Exchange (IDX) in 2024. The number of IPOs dropped sharply from 79 companies in 2023, the IDX reported on Saturday, December 14. The head of Retail Research Sinarma Sekuritas, Ike Widiawati, said that the fall in the number of IPOs was partly due to the transition of the country's leadership, presidential and regional head elections, which caused many companies to delay their IPOs. Widiawati also said she was optimistic the number of the IPOs would sharply increase in 2025 as the companies which had delayed their share offering would launch their IPOs during the year. Foreign fund inflows rose sharply in September following the 50 basis point cut in the interest rate of the United States Central Bank and a renewed optimism ahead of the transfer of the country's leadership from President Joko Widodo to President-elect Prabowo Subianto on October 20th. According to transaction data issued by Bank Indonesia, during September 17 to 19 period, foreign investors recorded a net purchase of 25.6 trillion rupiah, or about 1.59 billion US dollars, consisting of a net purchase of 19.79 trillion rupiah in the government securities or SPN market and 4.19 trillion rupiah in the stock market and 1.66 trillion rupiah in Bank Indonesia Rupiah Securities or SRBI. Based on settlement data, up to September 19, 2024, foreign investors made net purchase of 51.85 trillion rupiah in the stock market, 21.39 trillion rupiah in the SBN market and 186.85 trillion in rupiah SRB market. PT Adaro Andalan Indonesia Tbk (AADI) officially listed on the Indonesia Stock Exchange IDX on Thursday, December 5th, following its initial public offering (IPO) deemed to be the largest IPO during 2024. The mining company's president director, Julius Aslan, said that the company raised as much as 4.32 trillion rupiah from the sales of 10% of its total shares during the IPO. About 37% of the funds would be used to pay its debts and finance its investments. During the first trading day, the Jakarta-based company's stock gained 20% to 6,650 rupiah as compared to its IPO price of 5,550 rupiah a piece during its first trading day. The flows of foreign direct investment in Indonesia remain high this year, despite global economic uncertainties caused by rising geopolitical risks. Foreign direct investment into Indonesia, excluding investment in the financial and oil and gas sectors, surged by 18.55% from a year earlier to a record peak of 232.65 trillion rupiah in the third quarter of 2024. The FDI is expected to continue to increase in 2025, partly contributed by large amounts of foreign investments made during President Prabowo Subianto's first overseas trips to China, United States, Peru, Brazil, and London in November. Here are the highlights of our 2024 year-end reports on investment. Investment realization in Indonesia reached 1,418 trillion rupiah in 2023, or about 88.06 billion US dollars, exceeding the target of 1,400 trillion rupiah set at the start of the year. Then Investment Minister Bahlil Lahadalia said in a press conference on January 24, 2024. The value increased by 17.5% annually from 1,207 trillion rupiah seen in the previous year. Foreign investment contributed 52%, with Singapore, China, Hong Kong, Japan, and Malaysia being the main investors. Meanwhile, domestic investment contributed the remaining 49.6%. Minister Bahlil said the foreign direct investment grew 13.7% to 744 trillion rupiah on a yearly basis. The growth of FDI was an achievement considering the rise of geopolitical tension in many parts of the world. President Joko Widodo on July 3, 2024, inaugurated the first electric vehicle battery plant and ecosystem in Indonesia, located in Karawang, West Java. The facility was built by Hyundai LG Indonesia, HLI Green Power, a consortium of South Korean companies Hyundai Motor Company, LG Energy Solution, as well as Indonesia Battery Corporation. The EV factory is an integrated EV battery ecosystem with total investment reaching 160 trillion rupiah, or about 9.92 billion US dollars. Currently the biggest of its kind in Southeast Asia, the factory would produce EV batteries to complement Hyundai's EV ecosystem in Indonesia. The plant was expected to help Indonesia develop its local EV industries as part of the efforts to become a major player in global supply chain of EV. President Joko Widodo kicked off construction of 3 projects in Indonesia's future capital city Nusantara in East Kalimantan on September 25, 2024. The 3 sites were a school, a hotel, and an office complex funded by foreign investors. The 3 foreign investors were Australian Independent School from Australia, which built the school, as well as hotel by Magnum Resort Nusantara from Russia, and an office complex by the Lonix Group from China. In his speech, Jokowi said that the groundbreaking of 3 sites were a proof of investors' trust towards Indonesia and that Nusantara was an attractive place for foreign investors to invest. President Joko Widodo on August 19, 2024 named Roslan Ruslani, a businessman and former Deputy Minister of State-Owned Enterprises, as the new Investment Minister and head of the Investment Coordinating Board, BKPM, replacing Bahlil Lahadawi. Meanwhile, Bahlil was appointed as the Energy and Mineral Resources Minister. Following his appointment, Roslan pledged to work with the Investment Acceleration Task Force for the new capital city Nusantara in East Kalimantan to bring in investment for the city's development. Roslan's appointment came as part of a significant reshuffle by then-President Jokowi. On October 24th, Roslan was appointed as the Investment Minister again for the Red and White Cabinet under President Prabowo Subianto. President Prabowo Subianto signed several investment agreements with Chinese President Xi Jinping on November 9, 2024, during his first overseas visit a few weeks after inaugurated as the President of Indonesia. The signing ceremony was held in a room at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing, China, attended by ministers and government officials from the 2 countries. The investment deals reach more than 10 billion US dollars, comprising of 6 economic sectors ranging from agriculture, fisheries, mineral resources, and water resources management. President Prabowo said that the investment deals were a significant milestone in Indonesia-China bilateral relations, reflecting a strategic and comprehensive partnership which had been established for more than a decade. A series of automotive exhibitions have been held in Indonesia this year, displaying the latest technology and newest car brands to car enthusiasts in the country. However, the exhibitions have failed to revive the car sales, which have been sluggish throughout 2024. The Indonesian Automotive Industry Association, or GAIKINDO, has reduced the vehicle sales target for 2024 following the significant drop in car sales during the first 9 months of this year. The following are the highlights of our 2024 year-end report on automotive industry. The Association of Indonesian Automotive Manufacturers, GAIKINDO, failed to meet its sales target of 1.05 million units in 2023. According to GAIKINDO's data, wholesale car sales reached 1 million units in 2023, declined by 4% from 1.04 million units seen a year prior. Meanwhile, retail car sales reached 998,059 units, declined by 1.5% from 1.01 million units recorded in 2022. GAIKINDO Chairman Yongki Sudiarto said the growth decline of car sales in 2023 was caused by several factors. Among them were the rising interest rates and a slowing economy, which affected the country's automotive industry. GAIKINDO Secretary General Kuku Kumara explained that the rising interest rates impacted car sales because most consumers in Indonesia bought cars through loans. Then Coordinating Maritime and Investment Affairs Minister Luhut Binsar Panjaitan said in Jakarta on March 19, 2024, that Chinese electric car brand BYD would build its factory in Indonesia starting this year. Luhut said at the time that BYD would start groundbreaking in July following reports from his subordinate, Deputy of Investment and Mining Coordination Septian Haryo Seto, who previously visited China to invite Chinese investors to Indonesia. On August 7th, Head of Marketing and Communication at BYD Motor Indonesia, Luther Panjaitan, said that his company had started building its facility in Subang, Smartpolitan Industrial Area in West Java. The plan would cover more than 108 hectares of land, including a research and development facility as well as a training area. Indonesia's largest car exhibition, GAIKINDO Indonesia International Auto Show, or GIAS, was held at the Indonesia Convention Exhibition ICE in BSD City, South Tangerang from July 18 to 28, 2024. The show displayed 38 car and truck brands as well as 20 two-wheeler brands. The exhibition was officially opened by then Vice President Maruf Amin and attended by more than 475,000 visitors. According to GAIKINDO's data, total transactions in GIAS 2024 grew 24% to 18.7 trillion rupiah, or about 1.14 billion US dollars. This year's exhibition covered areas of 120,000 meters square, more than 100,000 meters square than last year. Another automotive exhibition was the Indonesia International Motor Show (IIMS), which was held at the Jakarta International Expo in Kemayoran Central, Jakarta from February 15 to 25 in 2024. Indonesia's exports of completely built-up CBU cars reached 44,529 units in September 2024, growing 11.9% on a monthly basis from 39,804 in August. Data from the Association of Indonesian Automotive Manufacturers GAIKINDO showed that the car exports in September 2024 grew annually by 5.6%. from 42,186 units seen in the same period last year. Astra International Toyota became Indonesia's biggest sole brand holder with most car exports at 14,607 units in September, growing by 12.24% from a month prior. The second biggest exporter was Daihatsu, with total car exports of 11,668 units in September, followed by Mitsubishi Motors at the third place with 8,042 units. The Association of Indonesian Automotive Manufacturers Gaikindo in October slashed its car sales target for this year due to below expected results after 9 months. Gaikindo Chairman Yongki Sugiarto said on October 25, 2024, that the association reduced its national car sales target for this year to 850,000 units from previously 1.1 million units. According to Gaikindo, several factors contributed to the weak performance, namely uncertainty during presidential election in February, rising interest rates, fluctuative rupiah, deflation, and weak purchasing power. Gaikindo had several times discussed the situation with the country's automotive brand holders before cutting the target. However, the association remained hopeful with 2025 due to better economic growth projection. Indonesia is among the top tourist destinations in Southeast Asia in 2024. During the January until October period, the number of international tourist arrivals have reached 11.56 million, a 20.45% increase compared to the same period in 2023. The number of foreign tourist arrivals is expected to further increase in 2025 following the appointment of Widianti Putri as the new tourism minister, who have already promised to improve not just the quantity but also the quality of foreign tourists. The following are the highlights of the 2024 year-end report on tourism industry. Tourism and Creative Minister Sandiaga Uno on February 5, 2024, increased the target of tourist arrivals to 17 million for this year, higher than 14.3 million set earlier in 2024. The decision came out after the latest data from the Statistics Indonesia BPS a few days earlier, which announced that the number of tourist arrivals reached 11.68 million throughout 2023. The number jumped over 98% from 2022, when Indonesia only saw 5.98 million tourist arrivals. Sandiaga said the targeted 17 million arrivals was a number seen before the COVID-19 pandemic, as the Indonesian government announced the end of COVID pandemic in 2023. Foreign tourists started to flock the country again since then. Ahead of Eid al-Fitr collective leave and holiday 2024, the Tourism and Creative Ministry predicted that there would be 193.6 million trips of domestic tourists during the period. The number surged by more than 56% compared to 123.8 million trips in the same period last year. About 91% of the total 1,756 respondents surveyed by the ministry said they were planning to visit tourist destinations during Eid al-Fitr holiday, with Yogyakarta, Central Java, West Java, and Greater Jakarta being the most favorite areas for vacationing. Tourism and Creative Economy Minister Sandiaga Uno said on March 18, 2024, that the ministry had requested regional administration and tourism industry players to prepare for the holiday and promote destinations in their regions. The International Tourism Investment Forum, or ITIF 2024, held in Jakarta from June 5th to 6th, 2024 has produced 5 memorandums of understandings worth 862 billion rupiah in total investment, or about 52.6 million US dollars. The 5 investment deals consisted of development of a tourist attraction in Labuan Bajo, Flores, East Nusa Tenggara, expansion of electricity supplies in Labuan Bajo, resort development at Lake Toba, North Sumatra, cable car project in Ciater, West Java, and outdoor film studio development in Gamplong, Yogyakarta. Then Tourism and Creative Economy Minister Sandiaga Uno said Indonesia received appreciation from the United Nations Agency of Tourism that the country was able to hold 2 international tourism conferences in a year. In the evening of his inauguration on October 20, 2024, President Prabowo Subianto appointed Widianti Putriwardana as the tourism minister in his red-white cabinet for the 2024-2029 term. Widianti said later in October that she aimed to attract high-quality tourists to Indonesia by intensifying the promotion of 5 super priority destinations over the next 5 years. The 5 destinations are Borobudur in Central Java, Likupang in North Sulawesi, Mandalika in West Nusa Tenggara, Lake Toba in North Sumatra, and Labuan Bajo in East Nusa Tenggara. Widianti said she was optimistic that foreign tourist arrivals to Indonesia would reach 14 million by the end of 2024, a target set by her predecessor Sandiaga Uno. The government, on November 27, 2024, announced that it had reduced airfare for domestic flights by 10% during Christmas and New Year holidays this year. The decision was ordered by President Prabowo Subianto to answer public complaints about expensive airfare during holidays. In a cabinet meeting a few days after the announcement, President Prabowo expressed his appreciation towards his ministers and all stakeholders for the achievement. The airfare reduction was made possible due to collaborations between airline companies, state-owned airport operator Angkasa Pura Indonesia, state-owned oil and gas company Pertamina, and state-owned air navigation service Airnav. Indonesia's digital economy has increased rapidly in recent years due to a number of factors, including the high internet penetration, which has contributed to the sharp increase in e-commerce transactions and digital payments. A joint survey conducted by Google Indonesia, Temasek, and Bain & Company estimates Indonesia's digital economy is projected to reach a gross merchandise value of 90 billion US dollars. So below are the highlights of our 2024 year-end reports on digital economy. The number of visitors to the country's online marketplaces has shown a rapid increase in recent years as people, particularly the young people, have preferred shopping online, which does not only offer practicality but also convenience. SimilarWeb reported that the online shopping platform Shopee became the e-commerce marketplace category with the most site visits or visitors in Indonesia in February 2024. Based on similar web data, globally Shopee had the most visitors, reaching 235.9 million visitors during February 2024. Next, Tokopedia came in second place with visitors of 100.3 million in Indonesia, while Lazada ranked in third place with 45.03 million visitors. Blibli and Bukalapak were in fourth and fifth places with 24.15 million and 4.42 million visitors respectively. Digital banking transactions in Indonesia continue to show significant growth throughout the third quarter in 2024. Bank Indonesia recorded a 35% increase in digital banking transactions year-on-year on the third quarter, with total transaction of 5,666 million. Speaking at a press conference in Jakarta on October 17, BI Governor Peri Warjio said the rapid growth was supported by a safe, smooth, and reliable payment system. Meanwhile, electric money transactions grew 29% year-on-year to 4,001 million transactions. In contrast, transactions using debit cards fell by 8.59% year-on-year to 1,738 million transactions. Transaction using Quick Response Code Indonesian Standard or QRIS recorded the highest transaction, reaching 209.61%. E-commerce giant Tokopedia have recorded more than 21 million of registered sellers after a merger with TikTok Shop, the online shopping platform of the social media app. Earlier this year, Tokopedia integrated its system with TikTok Shop after the merger, resulting in the Shop Tokopedia brand. Almost all of the sellers are local brands, according to Nuraini Razak, the e-commerce communications director at Shop Tokopedia, told reporters in Jakarta on April 26. The Tokopedia-TikTok merger came after Indonesia banned social media apps from running e-commerce activities as a means to protect Indonesian micro, small, and medium enterprises. Indonesia is home to 65.5 million MSMEs. These businesses serves as Indonesia's economic backbone, making up to 61% of the country's gross domestic product, as data shows. State-owned Bank Mandiri has reported that the users of its Livin by Mandiri mobile banking application reached more than 25.4 million as of May 2024, an increase of 37% year-on-year. The total transaction value of Livin by Mandiri reached 1,552 trillion rupiah with a transaction volume of 1.45 billion transactions. Bank Mandiri President Director Darmawan Junaidi said that Livin by Mandiri is not just a banking application which offers convenience, efficiency, and customer satisfaction. The company also continues to develop the Livin by Mandiri features. Until the first quarter of 2024, hundreds of features in this mobile banking application have developed rapidly, starting from QRIS, Tap to Pay, real-time cross-border payments and transfers to various foreign currencies. Indonesia's digital economy is projected to reach a gross merchandise value of $90 billion or about 1,422 trillion rupiah this year, marking a 13% increase from the previous year, according to a joint report by Google Indonesia Temasek and Bain & Company. The digital economy includes e-commerce, online food delivery, online transportation, online media, and digital financial services. E-commerce remains the main driver of Indonesia's digital economy, Veronica Utami, country director of Google Indonesia, said recently. Utami attributed Indonesia's threefold increase in digital economy size to collaborative efforts within the ecosystem aimed at tackling key challenges. This growth cements Indonesia's status as the largest digital economic growth in Southeast Asia. We are now in the final days of the year 2024, ready to bid farewell and welcoming the new year of 2025. The growing global uncertainties have created a negative impact to Indonesia's economy. However, with our new President Prabowo Subianto and Vice President Gibran Raka Buming Raka, we are hoping for a new, more conducive business climate in the year 2025. Thank you for watching our year-end economic review. I am Luisa Kusnandar. See you next time.